When I tell people that this past year was the best year I've ever had, they just think I'm some kind of lying, like, asshole or something. Like, but it's true. I kind of realized this, like, I think it was 2020 when I realized, which is a funny year to realize this, that every year is getting better than the one before it. And I'm not the only one that feels this way. Regan over at Transforming the Darkness says the same thing. Whenever you've had your awakening to the fact that this is all spiritual, or that even that there's a spiritual component involved in the world and in your life, things change dramatically, and a lot of the fear goes away, because you start to understand why things are the way they are. Before it happened for me, the world was just a very horrifying place. Things just randomly happened for no reason, terrible things. I was pretty much in the mindset where a lot of people still are to this day. But once you figure things out, or get the inkling that things are beginning to figure it out, or beginning to understand things aren't what you thought they were, it all makes sense. And then the fear just evaporates. You're like, oh, okay. And then it's like every day is a discovery. And every day gets better. And subsequently, every year gets better. Concurrent to this, of course, is that you stop thinking about things in terms of years or days or anniversaries. Things like New Year's, for instance, that just happened last night. I mean, back in the day, I'd always party like, always partying like it was I did that. I partied anyway. I had any excuse, but it was a significant thing to me, and it made me take stock of the year before and think about how I can change things in the year to come. That all becomes irrelevant. And I would say that is the same for like most anniversaries or holidays, or the calendar and time itself. It's like, oh, this is all stupid. You don't need to worry about any of this. Another great side effect too is I used to have a lot of OCD type superstition things. Whenever I said something good, I'd always have to say like, oh, knock on wood, or I'd have to knock on wood, or say things like, oh, I don't want to jinx it. When you discover that's not how anything works at all, and you're only torturing yourself with these, strange mental exercises, you don't even really think of it like, oh, I don't have to do that anymore. You just stop doing it. And it's only, for me anyway, only on reflection down the road where I'm like, oh yeah, I don't do any of that anymore. Because that was all in my mind. That was all, something I was doing to myself. Things don't work that way at all. There is no... The only thing I still do like that is I do the coin in the fountain. If you've been here before, I'm sure you've seen it. I always throw a coin fountain when I'm near one. But that's more for sentimental, nostalgic purposes. I know it's not doing anything. Because things like that, like superstition and knocking on wood and not wanting to jinx yourself by saying something, it doesn't mean anything. It's not how it works. It's not how any of this works. And same goes for like having putting importance on dates, or celebrating the passage of time. Like, it isn't even like you have a moment where you're like, I don't have to do that, it's stupid. You just know, like, innately that it's stupid, and you don't have to do that. Like, it doesn't mean anything. Last night I think I was sleeping by like, which is shocking for me, but I was sleeping by like 11:30. I remember Nia getting up around midnight and saying, oh, Happy New Year. I'm like, oh, yeah. I rolled over, went back to bed. Yeah, it's been that way for a while now. I think, and the changes almost begin immediately once it clicks in your head. It's weird. I mean, everyone has a different process, and it's not one that comes to an end. I'm still going through it, and I get caught up in things sometimes where I forget, and I fall back into not old habits, but old thought processes about things. Like I'll see like some kind of thing happening on a public stage, politically or whatever, and I'll think, oh wow, this guy's doing this, doing that, and I gotta remind myself, no, this is all fake. This is all theater. It's all just theater, you know. I mean, when you've been perceiving the world around you in a certain way for 40 plus years, even when you do have something as profound as waking up to divinity, you still have embedded behaviors that you jump to, you know, and you got to kind of get out of that. But you will, you know. So yeah, when I tell people, I remember telling my dad 2020, and how 2020 was the best year I'd ever had. Not really even thinking about the fact that the whole cold thing, and he just thought I was being a dick because it was probably like the worst year of his life, and it was probably the worst year of a lot of people's lives. You know, if I was still on their side of the bail and I had no understanding of what was happening, it probably would have been the worst year of my life, because it's like would have been. But you don't even keep track of what years are the best or worst anymore, because that all becomes irrelevant. Time is just a stressor that only exists here and really has no meaning other than to upset you and keep you running faster on the hamster wheel to produce more gold. You know, and that's it. It has nothing to do with you or your experience. We've just been tricked, man, in a lot of ways. In every way. Well, it has to be every way. Nothing can be authentic. Otherwise, it would stick out like a sore thumb. And then everything else, you'd suddenly realize was a load of bullshit. So yeah, when I tell people about that year thing, they get kind of upset. You know, misery loves company, and people just assume because the world is so screwed up now and a lot of people are suffering, that it's almost like not nice to say that you've had a good year. What do you mean you've had a good year? You know, and then you know, they think, well, what did you get money or something? Because that's how people. That's the only way they can really judge things as far as happiness, money, you know, I mean, or the accumulation of material things, which I mean, I can enjoy. I'm a collector. I like accumulating material things, but not at the cost of anything that's really important. That isn't important at all. I mean, this is, in the grand scheme of things, of what you are. You've always existed. You always will exist. This is just a little tiny blip, which was supposed to be tinier. We got stuck here. So, I mean, kind of seeing how that's going to all work out. And it's working out. It's just got to... sometimes you'd wish things would speed up, because you do feel time here, because time does exist here. But it doesn't exist anywhere else. I think we've been over that quite a few times, so that is settled science squared. But I'm sure I'll go over it again. A lot of times I like to bring up concepts because, you know, sometimes people might be stopping by for the first time, whatever. But yeah, so I could almost be certain that 2023 is going to be a better year than this one. But I don't even think in terms like that anymore. It's like, but just none of that matters. You know, none of that matters. Don't blame the teacher, blame the school.